a story of a teenage girl with some superpowers who goes on great lengths to save what is dear to her. Hello, and welcome back to Every Recap Ever. Today we are looking into a fantasy movie called Wonderwell. As usual, all the unblurred recaps on our Patreon. So get your popcorn, sit tight, and let's go. We meet a 13-year-old, Violet, who's making some cookies and talking about her family. Her sister, Savannah, mother, Chloe, and dad, Adam, are in a hurry to go somewhere. Adam tells Violet to hurry with her cookies, and she accidentally turns the heat to the maximum. Oh, and for some reason, Violet has a mysterious power of manipulating flowers and nature. The flower wraps around her wrist like a bracelet. Okay, so her cookies get burned and she ends up sad. The whole family quickly arrives at the audition center, where Savannah is auditioning for a clothing brand. There they meet Yana, the owner of the company. She notices Violet's bracelet, and it is clear that she is cooking something in her head. Savannah is performing poorly during the audition. And wait, what kind of audition is this? I mean, you can check the unblurred clip on our Patreon. Okay, so Violet gets bored as everyone is watching the audition silently. Oh, and during the entire audition, Yana keeps stalking Violet. Yeah, she is definitely cooking something. Violet then goes outside to have a look at the surroundings and meets Daniele. They start talking about their likes and dislikes and form a good friendship. However, Yana suddenly calls Daniele inside. Well, it turns out Yana is his stepmother. She quickly goes inside and selects Savannah for their brand photo shoot. Her photographer questions her about her decision, and she keeps blabbering about some kind of key to the forest. After signing the contract, the family returns to the hotel. Adam spends some time with Violet and warns her about the dangers of the world. According to him, this world is like a giant plug and we should never open that plug, or bad things will come into this world. Let's just say he's talking some nonsense and trying to scare her, or he might be hiding something. The next day, while Savannah is busy with her photo shoot, Violet goes for a walk and again meets Daniele. He warns her not to go outside of the town walls. As the rumors have it, a witch lives in the forest outside the walls. But you know how they do in movies, she goes outside anyways. She ends up entering a mysterious forest. And when I say mysterious, trust me, it sure is. Violet then meets Hazel, who she thinks of as a witch. Hazel also notices her vine bracelet and invites her to her house. Her house is like a garden of flowers. Violet returns her flower bracelet and takes a different flower as a bracelet. Hazel also has a similar looking bracelet, but hers is a little more fancier. Violet then goes to pick some fruits from the tree and falls from the ladder. Hazel takes her inside and checks her future using some magical tarot cards. She gets worried seeing Violet's future, and suddenly Violet wakes up. Hazel then explains that every flower has different properties, and what she has is a special gift that only a few chosen ones possess. They spend some time together talking about their lives, and Hazel asks her to go to a special place. Violet reaches the place, which turns out to be a giant manhole thing. I mean, this is the exact thing her father warned her not to touch. But you know how teens are. She hears some mysterious voice who asks her to open the plug, and she does it. It's like a well, and on the bottom she sees herself, but in different attire. The other Violet tells her that this is the other side of the world. Suddenly, Violet slips and falls in the well. They both switch places and Violet is now at the other side. The other Violet, or let's just call her a doppelganger. So the doppelganger tells Violet that they can only switch places again tomorrow before sunrise, and if they fail to do so, they will be stuck in that particular world. As she is about to return to Hazel, she gets stopped by the giant mask-looking thing. It initially thinks of eating her but decides to spare her life. She quickly goes to Hazel from this world and tries to explain everything. Hazel calms her down, gives her the change of clothes, and tells her that she needs to return tomorrow morning to the well again. She tells her that the mysterious voice she heard was nature talking to her, and only those who are the chosen ones can hear its voice. Violet gets a little suspicious of all these situations and even suspects Hazel of planning something sinister. She distracts her and flees from her house. She takes a different route this time to exit the forest and stumbles upon a giant pit filled with big Venus flytraps. She musters her courage and jumps on the plant. She quickly jumps to the other side and exits the forest. Meanwhile, we see a familiar face visiting Hazel, Yana. They then talk about Violet and her powers. Apparently, they both are sisters and their mother passed the key to control the forest to Hazel. There were two keys initially, both for this world and the other world, but Yana destroyed her key due to her sinister nature. Hazel is thinking of passing this key to Violet, but Yana is against it. She even threatens her, saying Violet won't be able to do anything, as her whole family is in her control. It is clear that she is the villain here. So, Violet eventually returns to the town and everything just seems a little weird to her. She sees her dad being very close to Yana. Violet then meets Savannah and tries to explain the situation to her, but as usual she doesn't believe her. Later, the family returns to the hotel for dinner with Yana and a photographer. He shows the family Savannah's photos, which they don't like at all. Why? Well, according to them, she is exposing too much skin. Yana changes the topic and invites them for the party where big names from the industry are coming. It would be a great opportunity for Savannah to increase her popularity, but her parents decline. Savannah gets angry at their decision and decides to sneak out at night. Violet wakes up and sees Savannah getting ready for the party. She tries to stop her saying they are bad people, but Savannah doesn't listen and leaves. Violet decides to follow her and accidentally listens to her mom-dad's conversation. They are having an argument and Chloe is suspecting Adam of cheating on her. The fight escalates and Chloe just barges out of the hotel. The photographer sees Chloe leaving and decides to follow her. On the other side, Violet catches up to Savannah and again asks her to stop this. But you know how greed for fame makes people crazy. Yeah, she ends up having a fight with Violet. Violet then feels defeated, but Daniele comes searching for her. Well, he was worried for her. He comforts her, but suddenly he remembers something, so he leaves on his dad's scooter. Violet sees her mom kissing the photographer and this shocks her. She just can't accept this other world. She runs away to the forest to spend some alone time and return to her world. Danielle's bike gets stolen by Yana's men. Why? Well, to teach him a lesson and not to meddle in their affairs by getting close to Violet. Meanwhile, Savannah reaches the party location and gets welcomed by the photographer. He decides to take her to Yana. However, Daniele reaches the party location and asks the guy who stole his bike about the bike's whereabouts. He gets shocked seeing Savannah there and asks her to leave this place, as they are not good people. She doesn't listen and goes inside to meet Yana. With no options left, he decides to go find Violet for help. Violet, on the other side, encounters the flying head mask thing. That thing informs her that it is not the time to return to her world. She needs to wait before sunrise, but Violet doesn't listen to the mask and moves forward. She again ends up in that Venus flytrap location. Like before, she jumps to the plant, but this time, it closes its mouth immediately and she gets stuck inside. On the other side, Yana takes Savannah to a room with other models and somehow brainwashes her. She is now in control of her. Violet is about to get sucked down to the stomach. She suddenly hears nature's voice again and it tells her to save her sister. She then falls unconscious. Daniele comes to the forest and sees his bike in the river. As he goes to retrieve it, he notices Violet, who's lying there unconscious. He wakes her up and she tells him everything about the other world and this world. He initially doesn't believe her. I mean, come on, who would believe it? But he's not like others, he believes her. They quickly go to save Savannah from Yana's hands. They go to the party location and confront Yana and Savannah. She is in a vegetative state where she can't hear anything. Violet cries out her name, which miraculously reaches her heart, and she comes to her senses. They fool Yana and run away from the party. They somehow reach the entrance of the forest, which is now completely covered in mist. And like every other movie, they get separated in the mist. Yana and the photographer follow them and she tells him about Violet. So basically Violet is the next successor of the Forest Key and she is chosen by Mother Earth. If she somehow is able to control her, she can then control nature. As they enter the forest, the giant head stops them. Photographer gets scared and runs away. Yana uses her powers and stabs the mask and manages to defeat it. The mask drops the key, which was in the possession of Helen, but the key doesn't accept Yana and fades underground. Violet tries to find her way to the plug, but the sun has already risen. As she reaches the location, she sees that the plug is nowhere to be found. In short, she is now stuck here. Yana confronts her and asks her to join her side or die by her hands. Suddenly, the flower grows from the ground and wraps onto her hands to form the key. Violet tries to trick her, saying if she let my family go from her clutches, she would give this key to her. Pretty fair deal, I would say. So Yana agrees, but as she is about to touch the key, it starts glowing and burns her hand. The key returns to Violet again. Suddenly, Violet uses the key's power and controls the vines to capture Yana. She gets engulfed in the vines and disappears from the place. Violet then goes to Hazel's house and sees the miniature version of the mask. It turns out the floating mask was her all along and she was secretly protecting Violet. She searches for Hazel, but she is nowhere to be found. Suddenly, Daniele comes searching for her and they reunite with Savannah. Violet never tells them about the key and decides to stay in the other world. Well, she has learned a lesson that it is not the place that is bad, it is the people and their behavior. So she is now tasked with changing this world for good, and if anyone doesn't listen, she can always use some vines to make them listen, right? Right? Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if anyone asks what happened to her mom and dad, well, they met and resolved their issues. Yeah. Anyway, join our Patreon and we will see you in the next video. See ya.